That's
Feel like when it's married, something.
We sure do. Okay, so we are now.
Yeah, I do.
And I'm going to call things to order. So we will start with opening the meeting for public comment.
Roll call.
Oh, excuse me, I forgot a roll call. Roll call, thank you.
Dr. Bill Jordan?
Here.
Wyatt?
Here.
Lonegro?
Here.
Ruffner? Not here. Sturbins?
Here.
Sullivan?
Here.
Warshaw?
Here.
Thank you.
Now, we will open our meeting for public comment. Please remember that it is not a dialogue between you and the board, and that if you have a specific issue which requires a response, our superintendent Grins or the appropriate person will get back to you. Please state your name and your connection to Skokie School District 68. Please limit your remarks to no more than 5 minutes, and please finally avoid comments specific to any person, student, or staff member respecting their right to privacy. And I believe we have one public comment.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. James Johnson.
You can stand right there.
Evening everyone. It's my first time at a D68 meeting. I'm not a 68 resident, but I am a Skokie resident. No one asked me to be here tonight or speak tonight. I just came because I felt really kind of heartbroken hearing some of the really disparaging comments that have been made at some of your recent meetings, directed towards one of your board members, Dr. Sullivan, who I've had the real pleasure of knowing for a few years. Dr. Sullivan is one of the smartest, most dedicated people I know in Skokie, and she's an anthropologist, she's a professor, she's an author. I know she could be doing absolutely anything she wants with her time and energy, and the fact that she is serving really incredible students and families at your district and my community here in Skokie, I find to be really a blessing. It was hard to really hear some of the comments that have been expressed recently. There's so much hurt and so much anguish in our community right now since October 7th. You can hear it in so many of the comments that have been given in the past few meetings. A lot of really deep wounds in our community have been ripped open. But I think for anyone to kind of direct that anger and direct that anxiety towards Dr. Sullivan, someone who's really a self-described pacifist, someone who I know cares so much about creating a welcoming community here, to me, I find that really misguided. So I just wanted to come and give some thanks, spread some love, and really just voice support for all of you on this board and all of your wonderful staff members. I know how much all of you care about this community, and I really thank you all. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes our public comment for this meeting. Well, if you would allow me to take a moment of privilege to first of all acknowledge that I'm not President Joe Ruffner. I'm my vice president duties today. Do we have the right name tag? Yes, we do. But to just welcome Dr. Scott Grins to not just his first meeting of the Board of Education, but to our District 68 community and family. You know, he has been in our community essentially since you signed those papers and been engaging with us, of course, but more importantly, we have had an opportunity to get to see all the very reasons why we have really good faith and energy in the future for District 68. So I just wanted, on behalf of the board, to thank you for your leadership and to welcome you to our district. And if any other board members would like to say something, you know, please feel free to do so. But thank you.
But not obliged.
I'm just super excited that you're here.
Thank you.
I
Appreciate it.
mean, he, just so you know, he had meetings with all of us one-on-ones, which was really lovely because he got to hear like how we each envisioned the district, and I really appreciated it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So in moving forward to our board agenda, we will start with superintendent's reports.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It is an absolute honor to be here. Your superintendent, my very first meeting with all of you. I feel, as Dr. Bill Jordan pointed out, like I have been here for a year. But that could be because July went by incredibly quickly this year. The transition is going very well. We've had a lot of really great opportunities to meet with staff already, just informally. We've had several meetings as a leadership team. We hosted our annual summer retreat at the Skokie Public Library. I do want to give just a brief little small applause to the leadership team for all of their hard work. I've been incredibly impressed. I was impressed from the beginning with the team, but what I have found out is that they're not just helping me, but they're also helping each other. So when I have received questions and I'll ask questions back, they have oftentimes already connected with one another to try to problem solve and also support each other, which I think is incredibly impressive. And just a showing of how dedicated and talented you all are. The administrative cabinet continues to meet regularly. I've been able to connect with liaisons from police, fire, the village of Skokie. I've had a few community opportunities as well, with more to come. I've been able to engage and ask questions of my superintendent colleagues here in Niles Township. They have been very supportive as well. And then we have a number of upcoming dates for staff as well as family engagement. Tomorrow is our District Teacher Institute Day. Very exciting. We'll have a Building Teacher Institute Day then on Monday, the 19th, and we have a Teacher Plan Day on Tuesday, the 20th. A lot of anticipation for first day of school in the air, especially with a lot of construction and a lot of improvements, which we'll talk a lot more about tonight. Wednesday, August 21st is our very first day of school for the 24-25 school year for our students in grades K to 8. And then the 22nd is our first day of school for our early childhood students, and we'll talk more about that as well. On Thursday, August 29th, I'm really excited to be hosting a superintendent meet and greet for our family members. That'll be at Old Orchard Junior High in the auditorium at 6 o'clock. We'll obviously be sending out more communication about that, details, as well as a welcome back letter to our families, our parents, and our guardians. And we'll also have some staff meet and greet opportunities that I'll share tomorrow at our annual Staff Institute. Just as a reminder, looking a little bit farther ahead, September 2nd, Labor Day, we do not have school. And then September 19th is our next board meeting. In terms of enrollment, registration and re-registration is still going on online. We still have families enrolling. And we've had a lot of families come into the ESC for things like supply pickup, registration support. So if you need registration support, we have a number of really great team members available to help you, so don't be shy. In terms of community and family engagement, I wanted to just share one really impressive component of our registration process. Deanna Juarez, our coordinator of family services and engagement, last spring, Deanna and a number of team members engaged LARC to train, I believe, 9 interpreters to support us with some language translations for our families. And as a result, they've been able to pull 110 families just in July, in the last week, that they've connected with. And so far, the feedback from those families has been absolutely amazing. And just another example of how excellent of a district this is, how resourceful this district is, and really how welcoming this district is for our families and our parents. So just wanted to highlight that. I thought it was a really unique opportunity that we have here, and exciting that even that was going on without really us even blinking an eye, because it's just sort of business as usual that I just was really amazed by. Also related to some updates, we've had a number of classroom and school renovations across the district, and given the significance of that, it can be difficult to really even understand all that is taking place. So we asked our wonderful architects, STR partners, to help us out with just sort of an at-a-glance document, which is what is broadcast here. You have printed copies, and there's also a publicly available version of this booklet online. A lot is taking place across the district. I'll try to do a quick glance over that as you skim through the book. Really amazing learning spaces that are being just continuously improved, which is one of our core values. And you'll see, just driving through the community, you can visibly see a lot of the work on the exterior, certain places, particularly Devonshire. A new roof is underway. Interior renovations, extensive interior renovations, including HVAC, again, wrapping up and still under completion. Several of our teachers and staff were able to get in the building today, along with Principal Ritz and team members who helped out. A lot of us showed up in t-shirts today, which sounded better when we got in than it did when we were helping. But a lot of hard work was evident, and it was really great to see the staff be able to get into the space. Playground curbing is still taking place. Playground equipment installation is completed. However, the playground surface itself is not complete. So Monday and Tuesday of next week, there will be the curing, as they refer to it, or need to be curing of the actual flooring of the playground equipment. And that will unfortunately take 48 hours to cure. So we will have to, in a difficult way, look at that playground until Friday is the anticipated date in which we'll be able to use that playground for our students. It will be safe. There will be a rubberized, safe composite on the floor, but unfortunately, it just won't be available yet until ideally Friday at the earliest. New sod, new green space at Devonshire, some flooring done in certain spots, including the gym, nurses area. Highland is undergoing some geothermal work as well in the exterior. That's scheduled for completion ideally tomorrow, pretty soon. Some playground work is also scheduled for completion and development at Highland. And also new sod and green space, which will take a bit of time, obviously, to take. Kindergarten restroom is being completed, some seal coating. They've replaced and repaired a collapsed sewer line, and the gym floor has also been refinished. Stenson has a new staff restroom on the second floor, very exciting. Some roof, gutter, and downspout work completed, seal coating, gym floor. And then Old Orchard also had gym floors refinished, a chorus room a little bit refinished, some classroom bookshelf work. And then our early childhood center plans are at 50% completion. We're going to hear a lot more about that amazing work tonight. So as you can see, very exciting, a lot going on across the district for our students, our staff, and our families. Really great to see it take place. As you know, one of the strategic plan objectives is focused on exploring opportunities to supplement the cost and savings with this, as well as our work on reducing the district's carbon footprint. We do have one of the earlier signs of that paying off. We received a check from ComEd on the energy efficiency program for the sum of $13,910, which is exciting to start to see a lot of that work paying off, not just in the learning spaces, but also in savings down the line. That is the back to school news and school renovations update. I'll pause there in case there's any questions, because I also have just a brief draft schedule of the board education meetings. Any questions about that at a glance? We're going to dive much deeper into the early childhood center a little later in the agenda, and we have our team members from SDR to help us with that.
So just for clarification, then Devonshire's playground should be up and going on Friday, and then Highlands about a similar timeline or a little later?
The playground surface at Highland, the tentative date of completion is next week, but I'm not certain of the exact date at Highland off the top of my head. I just received a communication regarding Devonshire that the install is scheduled for Monday and Tuesday. Then it will take 48 hours to cure that surface, so it will be unfortunately somewhat restricted and blocked off. So my math is ideally Friday, which is going to be challenging to stare at because it's a pretty amazing playground. I mean, I was tempted to climb on it, so it's understandable, I guess. So Friday is ideal.
You're talking about the Devonshire playground?
Correct.
I didn't tell you I sneaked over there last
There you
night.
go.
'cause I'm really impressed.
We saw it on camera. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in the closed session.
But these renderings are on a website in some form?
Correct.
Okay.
Those are all in the board book, and we have an updated presentation of the Early Childhood Center that you'll see in a little bit as well, which goes into much more depth. All right. If not any other questions, I'll go into the draft schedule of the Board of Education meetings. So similar to past practice, what you have in front of you also is online is just a tentative outline of some of the topics and reports that we'll go over throughout the year. Some of these are requirements, some of these are deadline driven, others are opportunities for us to share updates on goals related to the strategic plan, student performance, as well as some of our long-term projects and the deadlines associated with those. That will be flexible. We'll have additional reports along the way, of course. And we will be keeping what is generally the most exciting part of the Board of Education meetings, which is our school highlights. And that sequence will continue along similar to the past as well. So hopefully looking forward to that, and a lot more exciting information to come your way. Any questions about board reports? All right, that concludes my very first superintendent update.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Very good. So we'll move on to the reading and acceptance of minutes. The next item of business is the reading and acceptance of minutes. May I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes from the June 2024 Board of Ed regular meeting and closed session meeting.
Second.
Higher. Monroe.
Yes.
Sterbins,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Warshall,
Yes.
Jordan.
Yes. Okay, so the approval of our consent agenda. The consent agenda is our next item of business and includes the personnel report covering employee hiring, discipline, resignation, change of status, and termination as posted with the agenda for this meeting. Financial reports, which include fund balances for June and July 2024, and the statement of position report. Pay orders and expenditures, which include accounts payable, statement of cash flow, and the P-card monthly report. Non-public facility placement contracts with Child's Voice, Brightmont Academy, and Safe Haven as posted with the agenda for this meeting. Approval of a THIS reimbursement agreement with Dr. James Garwood. And does any board member wish to remove any item from the consent agenda? If not, may I have a motion and a roll call vote to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented by the board president.
Second.
Monroe,
Yes.
Sterbins,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Warshall,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
Hyatt.
All right, so we'll move on to reports and discussion items. Excited about the first one?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we mentioned, early childhood facility, this time 2 years ago, 22-23, there was just starting a conversation about this amazing facility. We are very fortunate tonight to have two of our architects from STR Partners here to talk a little bit more in detail. They are pulling a doubleheader. They were just at the village of Skokie last night in front of the appearance commission, and things went really well. So I don't want to steal too much of your next
Thank you,
steps.
I've got that.
Thank you for being here 2 nights in a row.
No worries. Good evening, everyone. We're happy to share the update on the Early Childhood Center. So when I last did this presentation, this is about where we were. This was the conceptual plan and the conceptual site plan, and some of our very early fun sketches about, whimsical ways to conceive of the exterior of the building. Since then, a lot has changed and become more real. So our site plan now is definitely more real. We made sure we have enough parking. We have provided with a new bus loop off to the northwest of the addition so that we have separated drop-off and parent drop-off. Parent drop-off is going to be off of the front, the east side of the building. And then we're providing for playground in the back that would be protected. This is the floor plan. We still have about the same program. We have 7 classrooms and 1 classroom that is considered a make-it space that can become an 8th classroom should the program become expanded. With a student commons in the center that allows for a lot of activity and some student gathering, and a multi-purpose room used for gross motor and has multiple uses that can be used for community gatherings as well as professional development spaces. Off to the left of the main entry will be most of the administrative spaces with the teachers' collaborative workspace off to the west side, and then the director and the conference spaces and the health offices to the east side. And so we've also conceived of the exterior. So the desire on the exterior was to make sure that this facility has its own identity, but didn't ignore the building that it's attached to. So along the base of the building, we have selected a brick that matches the junior high brick. And then to hearken to a lot of the nature that you'll see that's being designed for the interior is a very tumbled light brick that gives it kind of a natural textural feel to it that will go above the base with a limestone sill that's separating the two. And then once we get up above the windows, we are changing the material to really bring out the wood that's being used on the inside to the outside. So it's still the dark kind of color that ties into the junior high, but it's the natural wood look that's going to provide some nature to the exterior. The appearance committee, as Dr. Grenz replied, very much liked the appearance. They had no comments. They were excited about it, and so they rubber stamped the approval for that portion of getting through the village last night. So it was good. So I mentioned some of the natural stuff that's going on in the interior. This is our finished plan. Most of the floor finishes that you can see here. The light brown color is the flooring, which is actually a wood look. It's a luxury vinyl tile, or it's not really luxurious, but it's just what they but it is a wood look that's bringing that nature theme and the pathways throughout the corridors as well as into the classrooms. The classrooms, we have a mixture of this material as well as carpet, because most of the activities that the kids will be doing will be on the floor, and yet there will be some messiness too. So we kind of have a mix of both. We're providing some color coding for each classroom, so along each side there will be 4 different accent colors as a way of wayfinding. The students know that they might be in a green room on one side or blue room on another, we're bringing in, let's see what happens next here. This gives you more of an idea of how those paired classrooms will look. The student commons area is something that we think is going to be very dynamic. So this was really a place where the team wanted to have a lot of nature. We have these popped up clerestory windows bringing in natural light from the outside, and the theme of nature in the woods is being carried through with the acoustical panels along the top. We're still working on an image to put there, but the idea is that it represents the forest. And then down below, where we have some protective material down at like the kids' height, we have cutouts of different forest animals that are local to the area so that they can actually see through and look out to the outside. So a little whimsy along with a practical purpose of making sure that that can be cleaned and isn't damaged from the kids' usage. Along the east side of the student commons, we have a little stepping stone. We've been referring it to as the outcropping, the rocky outcropping, to allow a little bit of movement and exploration by the students. We've kind of landed on, it's hard to see in this picture, but in that little picture, a wood surface rather than making it more of a fake rock. So we're bringing the wood that's on the ceiling down, and then the ceiling itself will be an exposed wood. So there's a lot of nature being expressed here in the facility, as you can see in this picture. So the photo on the left is looking at where the main entry, you come in and you see the make it space. So this is being conceived of as a very open space that everyone can kind of see through, and again, it's bringing in that theme of trees. So the cabinets are going to be kind of like the big long trunks, and we'll have some colorful material that represents the tree canopy that marches down the corridor as well as really kind of clumped around that make it space. Just to give you an idea now on where we are in the schedule, roughly right now we're probably more about 75–85% complete with the construction documents. We're hoping to schedule another meeting with the team at the late end of August, early September, for what we call a page turn meeting, where we literally will go through each of the pages in the construction documents and make sure that the expectations of your administration are being met, and that, as well as your buildings and grounds committee. We are going to be issuing the drawings for bids through Nicholas and Associates, your construction manager, on October 1st. They intend to take bids on October 24th. And then bring to you those recommended contracts to award on the 21st of November. The construction will begin on the addition in April, and the building itself is intended to be complete and occupiable for the January start of 2026. There will be probably some final site work and landscaping that's completed in the spring of 26. We have been performing estimates along the way. This is the spreadsheet you see there is the latest one off of the 50% set, I believe,
Yes.
in July. So you can see that we're tracking fairly evenly with where we were back in April. And we will be performing at least one more estimate now with our 80% set that we're issuing out the end of this week or next week. So we'll have another set to make sure that we're still within range and we can make decisions should anything need to be adjusted at that time. Dave Torres was not able to be here tonight, but if there are any questions, I can take to him about the estimate. That's what I know.
Super quick question, just the slight differences between the April 22nd estimate and the July 18th, I assume just finalizing the,
Yeah,
the corners and the, just the ideas specifically about how you're gonna lay out certain spaces, is that the slight difference, or is there?
right. As things get more and more detailed, the estimate does change a little bit. And then Dave did mention to me when I spoke to him earlier today that the total project budget changed because from his April estimate, he hadn't included a line item for furniture, fixtures, and equipment, and he did include that in this one, so that was his little bit of difference.
Thank you.
I was just curious, not even necessarily about this project. This will be my first time in this role on a construction project of this scope. I imagine you've been in that role on construction projects of this scope before. What are some of the major hurdles that will be some of the more stressful for you going forward that we may want to be conscious to look out for or to try to support as you get through?
I think on our end, really, there's not much you can do for us, but we do need to get through the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District permit application, which is never easy and can take months. So that's our next high priority goal, is to get that into the village so that they can review it and then send it on to MWRD. And that predicates, when we can start construction. I'm not worried about starting construction, but I am worried about making sure we can incorporate their comments into the drawings before we go out to bid, or as much as we possibly can. I think the decision-making process is happening in a very timely manner with the team, and so that makes our jobs a lot easier, and making sure that those happen when they need to. Other than that, I think we'll just work together as a team and see what comes up.
Sounds good.
Yeah, construction-wise, getting out of the ground is always the worst, but fortunately, that's not.
Thank you.
Sure. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so we have our Ed Red report.
It's the shortest one we've ever had.
Okay.
There was no
Alright.
meeting. Happy summer. They had their legislative breakfast earlier this week. I could not attend, but I understand we had a good presence.
Okay,
And next meeting will be coming up in a few weeks.
alright, well, report is filed, thank you. Alright, so.
Yes, we have two policies for first reading. The first for AD accounting and audits. Mainly legal references and footnote updates here. There is one area of specified language as it relates to preventing financial loss. It adds the words waste and abuse alongside other possible items that could lead to a loss financially. And obviously is saying that those would be things we would not want to occur in our accounting and audits. And there's also an additional specification around a financial amount for relations to petty cash and funds related to that. So nothing major, no change in practice as a result of that, just keeping updated with our policies. And then policy 6140, the education of homeless children. Really, it's just a legal reference, but again, just keeping everything updated. I wanted to make sure I brought those here for first reading as well. Any questions?
Right. So the next item of business is the approval of the Illinois State Board of Education Life Health Safety Survey. May I have a motion?
I move to approve the Illinois State Board of Education Life Health Safety Survey as presented. I
Sturvins,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Borshell,
Yes.
Paul Jordan,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Bennego.
Yes.
Anything to say about?
Yeah, pretty typical. Every 10 years, schools are required to have a life health safety survey completed. Actually, one of the architects that just walked out was the completer of it. That's very typical. The architects complete it, and that work then gets incorporated into our internal work that occurs with our amazing buildings and grounds team and our maintenance department, and then also in upcoming construction. So it creates a rather large checklist for us to make sure we're keeping the building safe, up to code, and also incorporating it in annual updates, as well as internal work that we have. So pretty run of the mill there, but it's helpful for us when we look at the amount of work we're doing to have that done. And it won't be required for another 10 years, but we are looking at that list in construction meetings and making sure that the work accommodates it as well.
Anybody have any questions for superintendent?
Thank you.
The next item of business is the approval of the notice of appointment of authorized agent. May I have a motion?
I move to approve the notice of appointment of authorized agent Kenya Austin, Assistant Superintendent of Business, Chief School Business Official.
Second.
Borshell,
Yes.
Paul Jordan,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Bennego,
Yes.
Sturvins,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Did we vote on the first
We voted on the first one.
one? Okay, very good. I didn't know if I heard it. Alrighty. Okay. Well, there were 4 requests and or responses for information under the Freedom of Information Act in the period of June 14th, 2024 through August 9th, 2024. On June 13th, 2024, the district received a request from Daniel Williams requesting all transportation contracts with any vendors that provide student transportation service. The response was sent on June 25th, 2024. On July 6th, 2024, the district received a commercial request from Sherry Reed requesting purchase order and vendor information. The response was sent on July 31st, 2024. On August 1st, 2024, the district received a request from Benjamin Rosen requesting copies of all email communication, including attachments, as well as any other written or electronic correspondence between board members. The response was sent on August 8th, 2024. And on August 1st, 2024, the district received a request from Benjamin Rosen requesting access to public records related to the Skokie 68 District Board of Education's curriculum updates to include new sex ed standards, specifically the National Sex Education Standards 2020, and any changes related to sex education for younger children K through 12, including but not limited to sexual orientation and identity, gender identity and expression, and puberty and adolescent sexual development. The response was sent on August 8th, 2024. All right then. The next item of business is entering into the closed session of the board. May I have a motion?
I move to enter closed session for the following items: the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body, or against legal counsel for the public body, to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act. Litigation, when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. And collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees.
Second.
Borshaw,
Yes.
Paul Jordan,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Leonard,
Yes.
Sturden,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Thank you.